Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Get the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Claudia Castro. It's been a minute, guys. I got my co-host Tim Park.
What up,
We
fam?
are. This is the Get the Bag podcast. I believe episode 38.
Yeah.
We took kind of a 2 week hiatus to, lots of changes going on, and that's kind of what prompted today's episode. Kind of going
hmm
through a life update of what we have in store, what we have coming up. But before we get into that, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're typically on here every week. Some scheduling changes will, I think typically we've been on every Wednesday, but we'll either have a
hmm
recording of a episode or have a live guest join us who's in a specific industry getting the bag. So just adding that value to everyone. So your support definitely helps us uh, through and through. So please follow us on IG and all the things. So I did want to kind of start out as a live update because so much has changed
hmm
since as I mentioned, since we've last connected. So just figure we kind of have a conversation in terms of new beginnings. And I think one of the big ones for me is I think a couple months ago I had found out that, I was laid off and,
hmm
um, from my previous job. And it was very amicable breakup, so to speak, where it was just like, hey, we have to make these changes. And at that point, it made sense for me. I was kind of looking into another direction
hmm
and decided to do that. And then kind of with the economy and everything going, I've always been kind of interested in tech sales, so kind of decided to continue working with an employer and found a gig out in Miami. So I moved out to
hmm
Florida a couple weeks ago. So that's a huge, really big changes, really big milestones that usually happen. And it's spread out, right? But
Yeah,
literally happen almost night and day in a way.
I
So
know. I
just
was
kind
like,
of been,
what?
yeah. I was like, what too? Because it just kind of just happened so quickly. But I'm a firm believer in like everything happens for a reason. And it just was an opportunity where I was like, let's try this out. Let's try something new. Um, that is a little uncomfortable, maybe a little bit scary,
hmm
but it's just what's the worst that can happen where it's like, hey, I can always move back. It's not
Right.
the end of the world. So just kind of went for it. And I think that's I kind of want to stick with that theme too, and
Sure.
in what we talk about too, in just entrepreneurship and it's really hard. Entrepreneurship is really,
hmm
really hard. It's really tough. It's uncomfortable. It's scary. Just life in general. And so it's just kind of like your mentality, right? So those are kind of some big things that happen with me. And I think obviously um, with you, Tim, there's probably been a lot of changes too as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
things that have kind of shaken up, and with new beginnings that are kind of coming up, and how we're navigating those challenges too.
Absolutely. And it's kind of we've kind of categorized or videoed your journey, through this podcast as well too. So, which is cool, and my journey as well. But coming from the Bay Area to LA and now to Florida. So it's it's
I'm a
it's
jet
crazy
setter.
how much, yeah, how much things have changed throughout this journey of ours within the podcast, and then business wise, and you know my journey has been still in LA, so I don't foresee myself moving anytime soon, um, but no, the business as business, um, we grew together. We actually, a lot of people don't know is that we officially, partnered up just recently
Yep.
with our businesses, and especially on well, real estate, or residential and commercial. So
Hmm.
that was a big step for both of us, and I think we learned a lot during the process of teaming up and creating processes. And like you said, entrepreneurship isn't easy, and we had some uh, just growing pains in regards to learning what's working and what's not working, and how we work together. And
Right.
I think we've always been good working together. It's just figuring out, like, the processes and learning, your platforms that you're using and implementing that, and just trying to be on the same level of, you know, getting leads, putting those leads into the system, and then contacting those leads for follow-ups and stuff like that. So it's a
Right.
continuous journey on that, but at the same time, it's needed, and I think we've been doing a good job of that, even though, like, we're on different, I mean, on the other side of the country, basically. So,
All right.
which
We're
is which is
bi-coastal.
cool.
We're conquering
Bi-coastal for sure.
our coasts. So I'm conquering here on the East Coast, and you're conquering on the West Coast. And
Right.
there's lots of real estate out here because opportunities come. It's not just opportunities that stick to the West Coast. It's also
Hmm.
sometimes you may get stuff that's out in the East Coast here where I can kind of take advantage. And what's really great too is yes, it's I'm 3 hours ahead, but it's like when if I get off of work at 6:30, it's
Hmm.
still 3:30 your time. So
Right.
there's still way, us to catch up and me to catch up on any leads that I need to jump on or things of that nature. But I think like anything, we kind of went through our growing pains too of like
Hmm.
consolidating. We're still kind of in the process of that too, and
Yeah.
like taking a look at what that looks like. But we did close a deal. It's a little base hit, but it's
Hmm.
it's something, that's
Yeah, for
huge a
sure.
test with that. And
Hmm.
I think we have a lot in the pipeline as well. And
Hmm.
I think the main reason too is like, yeah, we've been kind of working together so closely, and obviously we're
Hmm.
really great friends off the
Hmm.
off the stage or whatever you want to
Right.
call it.
Right.
And so we've really cultivated that relationship to the point where it's like, okay, it makes sense. Let's put something together. Let's help each other out. Because we were doing that already in one way, but to make it
Yeah, we
official
were.
and like really building this out, building this brand as well.
Hmm.
With the podcast and everything, and just kind of taking it to the next level. So I'm really excited to see where that takes us. Because
Hmm.
really my positioning with this job is, to get some equity and use the funds there to keep reinvesting in the business, but also a chance to gain some skills. I mean, being
Sure.
in a sales environment on a whole, like on an enterprise level, nobody really gets a chance to kind of see their processes, see the systems that they set in place. So I'm literally able to see like the operations of how you can run a successful business
Hmm.
at the scale at a multi billion dollar level is insane. So really excited to see where that turns out, and what I can apply that to. And that was also my intentionality, is transitioning into somewhere where I can really take
Hmm.
those high level skills, not just the soft skills, but into the business. And sales marketing is a big part of that.
Hmm.
And so if I'm able to, and I think vice versa, I think my background in business and like marketing out has kind of helped. It will help me in this role as well. So it's a give and take kind of situation here. So I'm really excited to see how it goes. It's going to be really, really hard work. I'm sure it's going to be tough going with that. But I mean, I was just telling Tim, coming back from the beach today, the warm water beach. I mean, I couldn't do that in
Hmm.
Cali. That's the thing. Like
Yeah,
Cali got those beaches, but
it's
you
cold
you
water.
to put take a dip a toe in, you're out. You're out running, man. It's all bad. So
Funny.
it's I think that's a big thing, is embracing change. There's not many people
Hmm.
get a chance to, or too scared to take that step because it's scary, or they don't like change.
Yeah, and I think, staying on that subject, is some people have never left their kind of state, and
Yeah.
either because financial reasons or they're scared of taking that leap of leaving friends and family behind and all of that. But sometimes you need that change, or sometimes you need that experience to move to the next level. So I know that I've moved several times, and each move has gained me some kind of experience or some kind of level of improvement of myself personally and then
Yeah.
business wise too. So I think, you know, taking the leap to move to a different, you know, city or state or whatever the case may be, I think speaks volumes of, just growth personally and then also business wise, because you just don't know who you're going to meet or who you're going to network with or who your work friends are going to be. And that could
Right.
lead to other things in your life too. So,
Yeah, and I think that was definitely part of it. And I know, you mentioned you've moved around a bit too before settling down in LA, and um LA will always be part of my home in a way, even though I've only lived there like over a year, a little bit over a year.
hmm
But I think you hit it with the mention of people, just it's a little scary stepping out like of
hmm
your state, and not to say people have to do that to be successful. There's plenty of people who are still in their state that we know are doing well, but there's that perspective that you get
hmm
from being in different environments and
hmm
learning to be adaptable. Like, I learned a
right.
lot. I knew that from the beginning. I kind of do have that, like, I'm just a busybody kind of person. So for me, like, it wasn't a question to do it, but at some point my body caught up with me with like all
hmm
the craziness and the moving and traveling.
Sure.
Um, this past weekend and the weekend before, where I was just like, oh, I'm like mentally exhausted, not just physically.
hmm
Um, it really is a mental aspect.
hmm
And but I found out too that I'm very adaptable. I can adapt quite quickly or acclimate to an environment very quickly.
hmm
And not to say you have to be like that, but I that's a really cool thing I learned about myself. Like, okay,
hmm
cool, yeah, I've been here 2 minutes, 2 weeks, literally. And I'm able to kind of like, okay, I know I got my commute down, or I got, my job, or where I go. Not many people are comfortable with that. It takes them years.
hmm
Some people take a
Yeah.
year to do that. So I think it just learning to be adaptable or flexible. It
hmm
really you're building. I think builds you out to be a successful entrepreneur or business owner, because things are always changing. You're always having to adjust to the ever
Yeah.
going changes in life and also in the business, right? Because there's people who just quit so easily, right? We've
Yeah.
talked about that too. So it's I think, yeah, this move was definitely more than just like a job hop or whatever, or like starting a new gig. It was kind of more of a lifestyle, or more like a life kind of change. I feel like I kind of needed
hmm
to just kind of reset and um, just kind of start fresh. And I have family out here too, so I think also the just missing being just having some form of family out in this
hmm
area. So it's it really did work out, but it not many people get that chance. Not many people give themselves that
No.
chance. So you
Yeah.
really have to build out the mental muscle if you want to be successful in anything. Is just like trying new things, and it doesn't have to be moving
hmm
across the country, but it can be
Yeah.
moving to a different city, or just getting different perspectives in the
Yeah.
people you surround yourself with.
No, and one thing I do love about you is that you're very intentional about what you do and anything that you do. So this is just one aspect of it, is that you are totally in a new industry. One, you learned
Mhm.
how to get into that industry. You took action and applied while you were in training to do this industry, and then you got the offer, and then you you packed up and you were out. Like
Literally.
that was that, and going to a whole different, across the country. I mean, you're a Cali girl, so
It
it's
is.
been all Cali, but at the same time now it's the Florida, and I'm super excited for that. I'm super excited for the business opportunity as well too,
Yeah.
um, and I love the intentionality of how you move around life, and I look up to you up because of that, and you're always moving with intention, and you do take action. You're an action person, so like a
Yeah.
superhero. I know you just be going. So
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
for
it
sure.
really means a lot because it was hard. It was, don't get it twisted where I definitely had moments with myself where I really thought like, okay, is this really what I want? And
Hmm.
it's I'm like, I can just stay here and just battle it out and figure things out, or and it's like some familiarity, or I mean, either way it was going to be an unknown, right? Because it was just like
Hmm.
navigating, um going through without a job and really building out the business, or um taking this job and going to a whole other, it really is like a whole other country in a way, because it's just the
Yeah.
culture, the people, the thought process is just so different than
Hmm.
Cali. um but that's really given me a perspective of like, huh, okay, like, just being open-minded and not so closed-minded. But that making that decision was really tough, because either
Hmm.
way it's like, okay, like, what if I don't like it? What if it sucks? What if the
Yeah.
job sucks? What if the people suck? In a way, I don't see it as taking a risk. It was just taking a chance, just
A chance. Yeah.
trying things out. Um, Neither way, I have family around, so it just, either way, it didn't seem like I was gonna lose either way.
Hmm.
I was gonna be contested. I was gonna be challenged, regardless. So
Hmm.
it why not just go for it? So I appreciate kind of your support always, and I think
Hmm.
just kind of the relationship we build, and it doesn't really matter how far. I mean, even in LA, like, it's hard to get together, like,
I know,
because I
right?
was
It
thinking
was
that too.
hard
I'm
to get
like,
together.
yo, it's hard to like meet up anyways with that LA traffic, although Miami
Yeah, for
traffic is
sure.
different. But I think it's just gonna grow our opportunities, like
Hmm.
you've even said. So
Yeah.
and then give you an excuse to visit Miami.
Oh
But
no, I'm there.
no, you definitely have to come out and check out the Miami vibes. But it's just I felt that support from you, and so it was never a thing like, oh, what is Tim gonna say, or what is what.
Hmm.
I made this decision for me, but I knew you're gonna have my back, and other people
Hmm.
were gonna have my back, and that just also gave me the I don't know, just kind of the confidence behind all. I'm like, this is gonna
Hmm.
work out one way or another. There's gonna be so many opportunities. Let's go. All
Yeah.
right, let's pack.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta be here. I gotta start
Exactly.
this day. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
And sometimes when you give yourself that cushion and that time, you sometimes talk yourself out of it. So I literally gave
Mm.
myself no time and just made a decision, because that's always the hardest part, right? Is making the decision.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a month. Because initially it was like, okay, we did want to move to Miami. That was the goal, but it
Yeah.
was like, oh, it was a 6-month goal. But when you're given this opportunity, like, we made a
Mhm.
decision like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been like, oh, give me a month to think about it. And then somehow you
Yeah.
talk yourself out of it. And I feel like that's sometimes so many people, we've talked ourselves out of
Yeah.
opportunities because we've allowed too much time to go by. So I think
Mhm.
by limiting the amount of time, it made it really easy where it's like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, maybe if I had more time, I probably would have, had that buyer's remorse, or I don't know, I
Mhm.
would have talked myself out of it. So I think that's also a big part of change in general, not just my situation, but people with the time a lot when they allow themselves more time, they end up talking themselves out of trying
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah. Totally. And I think That's spot on because really, I think Steph and I were talking about like how nonchalant we were about it and stuff, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll just moving next week. And we're like, dang, that's so. It's like no, I mean it's like quick decision, like it was gone. I mean, we had talked about it before, but and I had supported you during that process and stuff like that, but I just didn't
Hmm.
realize how soon like everything was going to happen, and it just happened, boom, 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 and I was like, wow, this is crazy. So, but at the same time, it was exciting. I was excited for you. I was like,
Hmm.
for the opportunity, and I was excited for our company because now we're like bi-coastal, and
Yeah, we can
you're
add
gonna know the
Miami
market.
uh
Yeah, right.
to the signature, the email signature.
Exactly. There you go. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
that's life, right? Oh, go ahead.
hmm No, go ahead. No, I was done.
No, I was just gonna say that's life. I mean, it's about we're still young. I mean, you're still a young chicken, regardless how
Mm,
you feel, maybe Tim. But I mean,
that's it.
why not? I
Yeah.
mean, but you kind of had to go through that. You had the you traveled you lived in a few places too. You tried out a few
Yeah.
places until you landed somewhere. And maybe for me, it's going to be Miami, or maybe we'll end up, moving back. The thing is, it's like you're still young. If you're able to, if you're able to do that, to take this opportunity, go for it. Don't hold yourselves back. And I think that's the main
Yeah.
premise of this whole life update is don't hold yourself back. Go for it. It may be scary, but trust in what you have, what value you have to bring, and it'll be worth it. Like for me,
hmm
I can't control what I can't control. For this new
Yeah.
job, it's a whole new industry. Like I said, going to sales, it's really stressful. Got
hmm
KPIs and that I have
Yeah.
to stick with, and um, if I'm not, there's a lot of pressure with that too. So I love being challenged. So that I think that was a big part of it. But
hmm
I mean, I can only control what I can't control. I know when I'm in
Yeah.
there, I'm gonna do my best. And that's it. And that's all we want to, right? As entrepreneurs is like, hey, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, do I feel like I accomplished something? I did something. And if the answer is yes, then you're heading in the right direction.
Absolutely. And I think that's key too. Is that like this is all about growth, and then taking risks, and then not being afraid to execute, and just learn from everything that you can. Because ultimately, if you continue on the same path that you're going, and you're growing, and you're expanding your life experiences, you're just going to be successful, that more successful.
Absolutely. That's a mic drop on that one. But yeah, this I hope you guys have found this super helpful. Like I said, we are making some changes to how we kind of run the podcast. We're kind of shortening up our the episodes where it's just me and Tim, but for the episodes with a guest, even then we're shortening that up because we're intentionality too, right? So we're
hmm
talking about intentionality. We can, if we can shorten it up to 30 minutes with our guests, that's we're able to get so much value for you guys to listen to a call in 30 minutes versus an hour. So
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoy. We do have very exciting guests. Again, if you are interested in being a guest, hit us up. We
Yeah.
have our drop a comment on there, or we have our contact information as well. Hit us up on IG, email, whatever the case may be, because we're always looking for more people to chat. And again, we've said it too in our on a post we made. You don't have to be closing crazy deals or making this amount of money. You can
hmm
just be starting out in your journey. We want to hear your story. Want to
Yeah.
bring people who are just fighting to make it, because everyone has an amazing story behind them. So
Yeah.
please reach out to us if you're interested. But besides that, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll connect with you guys next week.
All right. Peace.